So I was driving my daughter to college. She freaked out because there was a spider crawling on the roof of the car. Now ordinarily, I'd be like, it's just a spider, don't worry about it. Usually I'll just grab it, flick it out the window, not while driving. Although it could be fun. Anyway, but when it come up above me, I noticed something about this spider. It wasn't an ordinary spider. This was a crab spider. More specifically, a running crab spider. So I've done what I usually do. I've rescued it, I've fed it, we're going to photograph it and then release it back into the garden. Crab spiders are kind of a bane for me. Every photographer has one, whether it be wildlife, portraiture, macro. There's always that one species that you love to try and photograph but can never seem to photograph it. In my case, that is the crab spider. The hardest part is finding them. Where I live, there's not too many about where I go naturally, and my garden isn't exactly set up for insects right now. More on that later. So when I saw this crab spider in the car, I couldn't have been more happier because we've got an opportunity now to photograph a crab spider, and I have him here. I placed it into a simple cup enclosure. I gave him some water and I've given him a fly, and the fly is dead at the bottom of the enclosure, so I'm assuming he has eaten it. So we're going to photograph this running crab spider now, and then we're going to release it into the wild. Because it's a wild spider, I only want to photograph it once. I don't want to be getting it in, out, practicing, none of that stuff. And you, the viewer, seems to like this type of video where I'm just running off the cuff. Anything could happen. I don't know if we'll get a shot. We might get a shot. We might get a portfolio worthy shot. We don't know. It's just the way these things go. But I am going to be photographing it. But we are going to see what happens. No matter whether we get a shot or not, this spider will get released into the garden for it to run off and fend for itself. But I have given it a fighting chance to survive. And I think that's what's important, because in the car, I don't think it's going to catch much in the car. Right, so we're going to set this up very quickly. And I'm not so sure if I want to go for a over-the-top vibrant look, or whether I want to go for a natural look. Either way, whether I post on social media, I will say it's shot in a studio, and that's one thing I do hold dear to me, is to be honest with the location of where these subjects are photographed. So we're going to use a Platypod Extreme, and I'm going to place my ball head on there, which has a platy disc and a mini super clamp attached to it. So I'm assuming you've all seen this setup before, so I don't really need to be explaining this setup. I'm thinking I want to go for a natural look for this shot. Now this is a brown crab spider. I assure you there's one in there, okay? I can't see it right now. That's going to be interesting, that's for sure. So what I have here is a bag of leaves that I've collected over the last few weeks during autumn, and we can use these to photograph our crab spider on. Now he is a brown spider, so ideally I don't want to use a brown leaf. I want him to stand out in the frame, have some contrast. So most likely we'll use some of the green leaves. These ones are okay, and again the brown ones, no. So I'm going to go with the two bright green ones. They haven't lost their colour at all. So if we can get the crab spider onto that leaf there and then just photograph him, I'll be quite happy with that. Now this crab spider most likely isn't going to keep still at all. We need to be extra careful. So when I'm doing this with my jumping spiders, I know how the jumping spiders are going to react because they're pets. So with this being a wild spider, I don't know how it's going to react, so we do have to be a little bit extra careful. Again, welfare of the subject is the most important thing. So if it does start freaking out and jumping off all over the place and running around, we might have to cut the shoot short, and I'll have to think of something else for you to watch. Now I do have a natural background here somewhere. We have our classic blue and green. I also have a brown background, which that might work quite well. And then of course we have our colourful background that I like to use in a lot of the videos. But again, I'm going to try and go for a natural background, I think. So we're going to go for the green, because again, it's a brown spider, so I want to have contrast in there. And I'm going to try and position this so I can photograph it, but you can still see what's going on. I'll use the side camera. If you look at there, we've got like a slope here that's shooting up, so I might have to shoot upwards like that. Or we could adjust our ball head to flatten out the leaf so that we're shooting straight on. That is of course assuming that the crab spider is going to sit on that leaf and stay still, which I don't think it's going to. Before we get the crab spider out, we're going to set up the camera. In case anyone hasn't seen it, I've done a video about setting up this camera for macro, so all I've got to do is set it now to C1 and that's it, I'm done. Camera set up, because we're using our custom mode. I'll turn on the flash, 164 power, trying to decide whether, yeah, I'm going to go for single shot first. Okay, single shot, F14, TTL on the flash, and I'm just going to reset the power to 0, so it's TTL with no compensation. He will go to the side. No, I'll put it to the, because if I put it to the side, you can't see me. So let's get the crab spider out. Now, as I said, it is a running crab spider. I don't think I've photographed any of these. I've seen them before, but I haven't managed to get a photo of them. Now this guy is very small, so I'm having to be very careful. Let me get him out. Nope, there's a little fruit fly in there though. He's got his freedom. He survived the night in there with the crab spiders though. Okay, I can see him. He's in the bottom of the cup. Honestly, I don't know if you're going to be able to see him on the overhead there. I'm not going to handle him if I can help it. I'm just going to offer him the leaf and see if he'll come out. I think he's gotten used to his new home. I mean, let's face it, no danger with predators or anything like that. He's got food, he's got water. What's not to love? He's fat anyway, so he is well fed. Okay, at least he's out the cup. Getting him onto the green stuff is quite hard. There we go, he's on there. Having this crab spider come to me was great. I didn't have to look around for one. I also want to create a garden that attracts insects for next year. Essentially, I want to use my garden as a secondary macro studio for a bunch of videos I'm planning for next year. So this is a great opportunity to talk about this video's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives with thousands of classes led by industry experts across film, illustration, design, freelance, productivity and more. Skillshare can help you take your career, skills, hobbies, passions or side hustles to the next level. I'm now watching Gardening to Attract Beneficial Insects, and I'm learning so much about gardening, what plants to use to attract insects into my garden for next year. The first 500 people to use my link in a description to join Skillshare will receive 1 month of premium for free. So get started today using the link in the description, and I'm going to go off and I'm going to carry on learning how to do gardening to attract insects. So all I'm going to do is just observe him now and see what he does. You can see him just here, and he has stopped moving, but he's facing away from me, so that's not good. So he didn't stay on the leaf very long, and I have noticed when I talk it freaks him out a little bit. Let's see how he reacts to the flash. He didn't react at all. Every now and again he stops to take a breather. We want him to stop and take a breather when he's on the actual scene if we can. Slightly out of focus than what Don's are, but again, we're not doing that to get a picture, we're doing that to see how he reacts to the flash. This is going to be a difficult shoot, I think, because he's very active. And again, I don't put my subjects in the fridge. I don't cool them down or anything. You're attached to the desk, aren't you? You put a bungee cord on the desk, haven't you? He's on the desk just here. I'm just going to have a little go, see if we can get him. 2 to 1 is slightly too much for this spider, so I've gone to 1 to 1 now. And again, we'll wait for him to calm down. And he's not freaking out. He's essentially exploring. This is why they're called a running crab spider, because they literally run everywhere. He just doesn't want to go into the scene at all. So as soon as you're on the scene, as soon as you get your picture taken, as sooner you can get back into the garden. That could be why he doesn't want to play ball though, because he knows he's going to lose his house. He knows he's homeless after this. He's got to go and find himself a new home. So I'm going to get down low, see if we can get a shot of him. I'm going to turn off my TTL. I'm going to drop it down to an F8. Okay, we're a little bit overexposed, and and I'm doing all this while I keep an eye on him. So I'm going to 164 power on the flash. Engage my autofocus clutch, which takes me into focus bracketing, and then we'll try and get a focus bracketed shot. Right. Not bad at all. I'm going to zoom in slightly. Let's go to about 1.3 times magnification. We're going to try and get another shot. So he's on the move now. I'm going to get the capture cup. Pop him in the capture cup, because again, he's done his job. He's off out into the garden. Right, that's just to stop him getting out, and now I've got to get up because I've done my backing. So my back is shot. Oh God. Okay. Alright, I'm in the chair. Whew. Yeah, so a lot of pain in my back. So yeah, I've had a few back problems lately, and before you go down in the comments typing "go to the doctor," I have been to the doctor. He says I'm overweight. Does this look like it's overweight? Does it look like I'm overweight? We're going to take this little crab spider, this running crab spider, and take it into the garden, find somewhere safe, if there is somewhere safe for it to go. It's a bug eat bug world out there. The actual world, particularly the insect world, is absolutely evil when you look into the fine details of how these insects live and die. I mean, it's almost like a horror film. But anyway, to recap, we had our running crab spider. We have Platypod Extreme with a tripod ball head, Platypod disc, super mini clamp, an elbow, another super mini clamp, and one of my textures off my website. You can purchase them from the website if you wish to help support the channel. And then we just simply placed our running crab spider onto our scene and just let him run around. And that's all we needed to do. The camera that we used in this shoot is the OM1 MK2 with the 90mm macro. We have the Godox V350O version 3 for Olympus and a Cygnustech Diffuser. And the rest of it is just practice, knowing how to use the camera, knowing how to nail the focus quickly, so that in between the crab spider running around we was able to get the shot that we wanted. And then because it kept still for a prolonged period, more than 2 shots basically, I was able to quickly switch it over to focus stacking and get a focus stack. And you notice, because I've set the camera up to a custom mode, I wasn't faffing around with the back of the camera trying to turn on focus bracketing, because it was already set up for me. Really, the best advice I can give you is to get to know your camera and set it up for you. And I say for you because everyone's different. But that's where I'm going to leave this video. I want to thank you for watching this video, and again, as always, I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for sticking to the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, then please subscribe and click the like button. It really does help out the channel. I want to thank my Patreon supporters for their continued support in supporting me and this channel. If you're interested in joining Patreon, then check in the description below this video for a link to Patreon. If you want to continue watching my macro journey, then click one of the videos in front of you now.